Well, we are back out reviving our revival documentary, and we're filming today in one of the greatest places in the world. It is the glorious Ammanford, my hometown, and we've come here to visit Bethany. Now Bethany is a chapel in West Wales that features prominently not just in the 1904 revival, but subsequently in the history of the Presbyterian Church in Wales, the early CU movements, missionaries, ministers being sent out. It's quite an amazing story, really. So we're here today filming. I think Dan is inside, so I'm going to go around and see who's here. We'll go in, and here we are. We're going through now then, I think. Dan? He's in here somewhere. Ah, here we are. So this is the glorious inside of Bethany, and here is Dan. Now Dan, this is my hometown, but it's also a link for you as well.
It is. This is my father's home church, and my grandparents' church now passed away. And so as a child, we would come down as a family from North Wales a few times each year, and we would come here for services when we were down. And this is the actual pew that we'd sit in, and it's bittersweet being here because the church is no longer really used for meetings. Certainly when I was coming as a child, it was fairly full, but in recent decades it's dwindled to only a handful of numbers. But I remember vividly sitting here for services. My grandfather was one of the elders, and he would sit in the Sedd Fawr, the big seat over there. They would all sit, the elders, in the chair. Those of you who aren't from Wales will perhaps not know this. And they would stand up during the hymns and turn to face the congregation. And my grandfather would be stood there. What you don't get when you make a video like this is the smell. And when I came in, that smell is like a big wad of nostalgia and history in the face. So it's great to be here. Jonathan, you've got memories of being here too, I believe.
So I was converted just up the road, brought up here, and I can remember as a teenager, they used to hold Whitsun conferences here, and I can remember kind of sitting around here, just being surrounded by all these men. Remember my first minister's fraternal actually was out the back there, in a little room, a little minister's fraternal studying the letters to the churches in Revelation. So lots of memories. Being in here, I used to be a school governor down the road. We used to hold all our harvest services and Christmas services in here, and as well as is the role of a minister, a number of funerals in here as well of very godly saints. It's lovely to be here and to be able to film today. We've been let into Bethany by Mrs. Gaynor-Jones. Is that okay? So some of you might know Steffan Jones, a minister. This is Steffan Jones's mother. I'll introduce you like that. And Gaynor has been a faithful member here, for many years, and played the organ and yes. A few different roles. Maybe you could show us a few pictures. We've got over here the original building. Is that okay?
Yes, the old church.
So in the vestry, there's lots of lovely pictures.
That's the old church.
And so back in 1904, that's the church building that would have been here. The person we're filming about is one of the former ministers, who I think is over here, Nantlais Williams. Here we have the two first ministers of the chapel. So they were from 1889 onwards. It's 1880, sorry. And then after them, we get Nantlais, who, when he came here, wasn't converted. He was a minister, but not converted to the gospel. But here he is, and the story we're going to tell is he was converted after someone had preached to him.
Yes, because he could see all these people praising the Lord and all that, and he thought, I can't understand all this. And suddenly he went on his knees and he prayed, and the Lord came into his heart. Isn't it? It's lovely, isn't it?
And it's wonderful because, you know, he came to life, the church came to life, and so with the growth they had to build a new chapel, more seating. I hear stories of times in meetings when they had to open the windows for people to hear from outside, which is amazing. And then young people would go off from here. A number of young people went from here to Aberystwyth University and started the Christian Union with the backing of Nantlais Williams. But then later on then you've had other ministers. We'll pop over to the other side. Because Bethany really was a leading church in Wales, kind of keeping the gospel within the denomination. And so then you get lovely things on the wall here. Oh, these are medals, aren't they? These are Sunday school medals?
Yes.
Oh, do you want to tell? Perhaps people don't come from a Welsh background. Do you know what the medals are for?
Yes. They always had services to thank people for the years that they'd been in Sunday school, and lots of them are Sunday school teachers, and then they had this little medal.
The minister at this time was Gareth Davis, a wonderful man of God. He's actually sitting next to Arthur Pritchard.
Yes, a retired minister by then.
Who was retired. But as well, here there's a personal relationship in this picture. Could you show us?
That's my father.
There we are.
Mr. D.T. Evans.
There's your father, which is wonderful.
Yes.
And as well for Dan Pugh.
Yes. And that's his grandfather, Mr. Eifion Pugh.
There we are. There's Dan's grandfather. Over the years then, obviously you've had people brought up here and converted, your own boys converted in the chapel here, and as well a number have gone into the ministry, so Gwyn Williams, who would have come from here, your own son, Steph Jones, and then the mission field, Colin Nicholas, would have been here, and so you know the fruit of the chapel over many years.
Wonderful. Because my mother was brought up here as a child, and then met my father, who was in another church, and then they decided, well, they could hear the gospel in Bethany, and they came here, and then I was here.
which is wonderful, and still here. Well, thank you so much for showing us around, and
come out.
Diolch.
When I was a kid, I would sit here, I'd always look up into the organ kind of housing behind there. I always imagined there were bats living in there, and I'd imagine that they'd fly out at any minute during the service. All in Welsh, so the Welsh Church, Welsh service completely, so reading, sermon, singing. So my dad used to play this organ, and as did Gaynor, but this is the first time I've played it. Quite a moment. I enjoyed it, apart from the mistakes I made. This house behind us, if you look up there, is my grandparents' old house. Where my dad grew up, and you know, the White House is theirs. And I say, we used to come and stay here a few times every year as a family. And the Cream House next door is my great uncle and aunties. So they all moved in together, as it were, next door. So, it was built in the 50s. 1953, and they moved in when it was built new. This is the way we'd come up in our car. So, that's where we were. That's the back of the house. We'd park here to go inside.
So whilst we're in Ammanford, there we are again, Dan. We're in the centre, and actually here is the church that I used to minister in. It was my first pastorate. I was converted through the youth work here that used to meet up the road in a cellar. Makes it sound edgy, I don't know. But yeah, so I was here for about 12-13 years and was the minister of Evangelical Church here. And it's always good to have a church right next to a funeral director's. There we are. Well, there we are, Dan. It's been another good day's filming.
A very good day today. Very personal for us both.
Yeah, very personal today.
Very good. Bittersweet.
Yeah.
But mostly sweet.
Yeah, it's been good.
Where are we now?
So, well, that house in the background is my old house where I used to live.
When you were pastor?
When I was pastor, just up the road from your family. And then now we're on the rec. The recreational playing fields. I don't think anybody in Ammanford has ever called them that before. Interestingly, in the 1904 revival in Ammanford, the effect was so powerful that actually in, where are we? Oop, there. No, there we go, the rugby club. Can you see it by my finger there? The rugby club there. There's a plaque to all the kind of past captains, and in 1904-05 it just says club disbanded due to revival. So we're driving our own separate ways now. I'm going east, Dan is going north, and we'll be back, well, within the next month or so.
To be confirmed.
To be confirmed, but hopefully.
Well, here's the deal. We've got Panterkellen left to do.
Yep.
With an interview with Nathan Monday. That's the only really big day we've got with you left to do.
Yeah.
We also need to do at some point the opening and closing scenes, which are quite short.
Yeah.
We'll probably do those before the end of the year.
So there we are, and then we'll see you all in 2023. Have a wonderful time. Bye bye.